Hey, how are you? It's nice to see you again. I've had a funny old week and I've been looking forward to sitting down and just getting a chat to you guys. I really this week want to speak about your worst day. Any of you guys been having a bad day this week? What is a bad day? Why does it matter? And how can we use it to improve the overall quality of our life? Well, I've been thinking about this. I had a really, really bad day the other day. And here's the interesting thing. A really bad day is actually just to do with how I'm feeling on the inside. Can anyone else relate to that? I think we look at the external circumstances in our life and we think, no, it's really to do with this and it's really to do with that. But actually, I reckon we just have an emotional baseline, right? That ranges between two levels of good and bad. And what I've noticed is that on my bad days now, I look at the external metrics, as in how I'm eating, how I'm moving, how I'm sleeping, what I'm doing, what I'm saying. And what's really interesting to observe is that after 10 years of mind management, of managing my mind, doing therapy, coaching myself, journaling, reading, writing, practicing appreciation, practicing all the different techniques that I use to stay mentally focused. If someone saw me on my bad day, they'd no longer know it was a bad day because all of my external behaviours are really similar. Obviously, people closest to me would sense an emotional vibration that I'm struggling, I'm having a tough day, maybe on some level. But my point is, how our bad days show up in our lives really is a great indicator, it's a great metric on how our overall life quality is. It's a great way of looking at how good is my life. Because if on a bad day, your bad day looks kind of pretty much the same as your good day, your life's probably pretty good. And in my case in the past, for such a long time, I really struggled with reacting to my bad days. What do I mean by this? Well, I used to feel like if I was having a bad day, I had to maybe overeat, I had to overdrink, I had to oversleep, I had to over gossip, I had to overindulge in negative emotion, I had to stop creating results in my business, I had to stop being friendly, I had to stop having a good attitude. I felt like I had to react to my bad days, where now I feel much less like that. And it's really been through the practices of therapy and through the practices of coaching. And so I thought it could be fun today to share some of the techniques and some of the ways that I think about bad days. And maybe if you're having a bad day, you can use these and these will help you. So what is a good day? What is a bad day? Well, we have a baseline, right? We have a baseline of emotion. We have a baseline of roughly the same amount of good and roughly the same amount of bad. And then sometimes it peaks above and below that point. In my case, the other day, I was playing a gig and I just felt emotionally really bad. I just felt really, really bad. I was having a lot of very overwhelming thoughts. I was having a lot of negative emotion in my body. And I had to figure out a way to manage that emotion and get through my day. And that's really as bad as my days get. And my best days are, funnily enough, I'm just doing all the same stuff and I just feel really good. I feel good. So what is a good day? What is a bad day? It's emotional. It's the way we feel. It's emotional. There are circumstances in the world that we'd want to feel bad about. On the day my dad passed, I wanted to feel bad about that. That was appropriate. On the day I found out my friend's partner had passed, I wanted to feel bad about that. It was appropriate. So this is not to say you're choosing your emotion and you should only feel good all the time because you're choosing your emotion. That's not true. That's not life. That's not normal. That's not healthy. There's a lot of culture online with positive thinking that's really unhealthy. But my point is, a good day and a bad day is about emotion. It's actually about how we feel. What is emotion? Emotion's a vibration. Emotion is a vibration in your body. If you think about what anxiety is, for me, anxiety feels like a kind of ringing, hot feeling in my solar plexus, maybe a tightness in my jaw, maybe a fast heart, maybe my body wants to move a lot. If I feel joy. It can feel like a kind of rising volcano of positivity moving through my solar plexus into my chest. It can feel like a restless kind of positive energy in my body. So it's a vibration. It's a vibration in the body. It's also your behavior. Your behavior is driven by the vibration in the body. What is behavior? Behavior is activity. It's the way you act. It's the way you move. It's the way that you create things in your life through your behavior. What are your values? Well, your values are the behavior that you want to aim for regardless of the vibration that's occurring in your body. And values for me have been the key to unlocking my best life, because emotion is your brain sending a signal to your body. And the funny thing with these signals is they're often false. What do I mean by false? Well, our brains developed in a very primitive environment. And when you look at our timeline across the last 100,000 years, what you see is we are not really evolved to live in a world that's this easy to be in, that is this good to be in. So, the signals that are sent from our brain to our body are often false. They're primitive. And on a bad day, your brain is going to tell you, eat sugar, seek dopamine, don't worry about the result in your life. And so values are kind of like a North Star. Values are kind of like a compass to use, especially on your bad days, because on your good days, it's almost natural to stay in alignment with your values. Let's take an example. My values are to eat well, to exercise every day, to create results in my business every day, to have a big walk every day, right? And then on a day where I feel bad, on a day where my cortisol's high, my oxytocin's low, my dopamine's low, what I'm going to seek is that quick fix. I'm going to seek that quick fix of dopamine hit, which often is from a negative place. And so many of us are using things like pornography, things like alcohol, things like chocolate, things like Netflix, things like oversleeping, things like negative relationships in our life on those bad days. But what I want to offer you is that on the bad days, those are the days to be mega clear on your values and to adhere to them even more strictly. Your bad days are the days to align more with your values. Even though on the worst days you will want to regress more. This is the irony of it, and this is the strange game of it, is if you can on your bad days move more and more towards your true values. And the way to do this is have a list of them, have them listed, know what they are. I know that my values are to be a good friend, to be a good dad, to be a good boyfriend to my girlfriend, to be kind, to offer value to the world, to stay healthy, to work on my mindset, to eat well, to develop roots in a small place as well as in a large place, aka to develop my consciousness in the broader sphere via the internet, and to develop my roots within my community. So those are all my values, and I just know that if I wake up and I do those things, I'm not going to break anything. And sometimes not breaking anything is a good enough day. Sometimes that's a great day. And if you're like me and you come from a background where your example that was given was often, let's break stuff on a bad day, then sometimes just the simple act of not breaking stuff and staying healthy and doing the right thing and not breaking things, that's a great day if you can achieve that. Bad days are for building and for taking care. I want you to think about the 3-day butterfly effect, what I call the 3-day butterfly effect of food and drink and exercise. I was recently doing an album. I was recording. I was in a residential studio and I just was eating whatever. I wasn't walking as much and I wasn't on my normal regime. In some sense, it wasn't that bad, but I just was eating more bread, more sandwiches, a bit of crisps, just whatever was, what as Americans would call it, potato chips, whatever was coming in to the studio. I'd just eat a bit, drink a bit of alcohol, oversleep, not really move my body. And I came back from the studio and I started to feel what some people might refer to as depressed. And what I noticed was I looked back and I thought, hold on a sec, I've just had 5 days of sitting down, eating nonsense, not really moving, not really working on my mindset. And that's fine. It's okay. You're going to dip out of it sometimes when you have things that you want to do and give your full attention to. But when you think about the 3-day butterfly effect, the cool thing about this is if you're feeling like you're having a really bad day, if you look back across the last 3 days and you notice, what have I eaten? How have I slept? How have I moved? What you are going to notice is that, oh, it was pretty good today, but maybe 2 days ago I had that extra drink, or I had that extra sleep, or I didn't really eat that many vegetables a couple of days ago. Really simple stuff. The simple stuff. For me, it's always the simple stuff. And when I fix that and get back on track, I start feeling good again. I've got 5 questions for you, and these are going to help you to look at your worst day slightly differently and increase the chances of your worst day looking pretty good. Number 1, is this an opportunity to build evidence? I love thinking about this. I was going to the gig the other day when I was having my worst day, and I was thinking, well, that's what being a professional is. If I can show up really when I'm really feeling like this and still deliver a good performance, still be kind, still look people in the eye, still be a decent person, then that's a great day. That's a great day, you know? I didn't break anything. Number 2, can I become anti-fragile? What's the definition of anti-fragile? The definition of anti-fragile is, rather than being fragile, you're anti-fragile. So when something happens to you and you feel fragile and you feel like it could break you, you use it. You use it as an opportunity to make you even stronger. So if you walked into the gym, a fragile person would say, I cannot lift that weight, it's too heavy. Anti-fragile person says, give me the weight, the activity of lifting the weight is going to make me stronger, and I'll become anti-fragile. And let me tell you, friends, when you start to look at your life and the obstacles in your life in this way, you become much more powerful. It's very positive. It's a very positive thing. Number 3, is my attitude good? Sounds simple. So many people in the world are just cutting about with a brutally bad attitude. I can feel on my worst day like no one gets me, like I'm alone, like I'm tempted to feel sorry for myself, like things are hard. I can feel all that stuff and I still show up with a good attitude. What do I mean by good attitude? Positivity, kindness, self-kindness, self-belief, self-confidence is a choice to show up in that way. To choose to be confident, to choose to be happy, to choose to be appreciative, to choose to be kind. Number 4, I'm tempted to blame. This ties in. How could you have a good attitude and blame people? It's so tempting, and as someone who came from a particular background, it's very tempting for me on my worst days to blame all the people who in my mind contributed to my sense of limitation, right? But if I blame, it's like in the moment I get this little relief. Oh, it's not my fault, and I feel slightly good. But here's the thing, if I say I'm responsible, I've got some control. I've got some power there. Don't blame anyone. Don't blame anybody for anything. And not because you don't have a good reason to. I'm sure you do. Just because when you do, you have no power. Take your power back. Make yourself responsible. The last question, the 5th question I want to leave you with. What makes the best story? I want you to think about this. Imagine the story of Superman was, or Superwoman was, he was born and then he was really strong and amazing his whole life and then he died and that was it. Imagine the story of the entrepreneur was, they started their first business and then they immediately became a multi-millionaire and were healthy their whole life and that was it. Imagine the story of the stand-up comic who'd never experienced any hardship in life. The hardship, the obstacle, the journey is what makes the best story. The worst days are what make the best stories. So if you're having a bad day right now, You could look at like, hey, this is the part where I was going through this obstacle. This is the part where I was getting the opportunity to practice being stronger. When I showed up at my gig the other day, this is how I was thinking. This is my opportunity. I'm going to give 150% today, and then maybe I hit 70% of my overall usual goodness. But I'm going to give today. That makes the best story. That is what makes the best story. So I hope this has helped you reframe some of your thoughts on your worst days. And I hope you'll come and join us in the club if you're not already. I'm sure most of you guys watching this are. I love you. Thank you. You guys are my island in this crazy modern world, and I love you for it. And I'm putting new content inside the club all the time. So if you're getting any value out of these Sunday catch-ups, definitely come and join us. All you need to do is click the link in the top comment. Come and join us today. You guys have a beautiful Sunday, and may your bad days quickly turn back into good days again. Peace and love. I'll catch you soon.